mystery today. Said you're going to start the first game.
Thank you.
Yeah. Told you also.
Is that how you just found out?
Yeah, I mean, he had joked about it and jabbed about it in the past, but, I was still trying to work like I'm making the team. So, to start for this team on opening day again is a pretty cool feeling.
How do you, last year was about, proving, you talked about the contract eventually, and then, the trade was worth it. Now is it just running it back, basically? Is it just the consistency year to year?
Yeah, consistency. I think you said it best right there. That's the great thing about our sport is it's the great thing in, I guess the rough side of it, but one good year doesn't make you a good player. I think that you got to kind of come in and earn your stripes every year. I realized that the success that I had last year will, make teams game plan a little bit for me, a little bit more for me in certain aspects of whether it be pitch usage or specific counts. And, I've got to be ready to combat that.
Specifically, what would you like to, as you said, you're never perfect.
Yeah.
There's always improvements, but what have you identified maybe as something you'd like to be better at this year?
Yeah, I felt like last year I really struggled with glove side command of the four seam, and that was something I felt like I did really well in 24. I felt like I got away with it. When I look at the numbers, it's like, maybe I should focus more on the arm side one because it seemed to work, but I think that what sets up all of my pitches is when I'm commanding the glove side well. Identified a changeup grip kind of later in the year, and I felt like I had, the past 4 months to really hone in on that. As well as the four seam to the glove side, cutter to the glove side. Just looking at the heat maps year over year and month to month, it always seemed like my best starts came when the cutter was, primarily living down and into righties.
What was that changeup grip?
It's kind of more of a splitter now than it has been in the past. I felt like I was always pretty timid to buy into that. They kind of scare you growing up that it'll give you the elbow bug, but I found one that works for me, and I've been recovering really well.
And did somebody show you that? Were you fooling around with it? Or?
Yeah, I was fooling around with it. Tried to throw like the seam shift change. That's been pretty hot for about a year now. But it was something that never really took. And when analyzing like Edgertronic video, it always seemed like my best reps. It had more of a splitter profile, and like the spin rate tendency kind of leaned a little bit more splitter. So working on it in the off season, with Bales and D-Rose, they kind of sent me some grips to try out. And then I was working out at Vanderbilt, and one of the guys on their staff there, he really helped me with it a lot.
Who was that?
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember.
Like a coach or just some other?
No, just a guy that's on their staff. I had totally planned on remembering his name.
It would have been a huge shout out.
Yeah, it would have been a good shout out. But I think his name was Herbie. Yeah. Just got a nickname, not a first and last.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you learn, in getting to 200 innings and over, and 30 starts, the whole bit. What did you learn about your body and preparing for a full season like you had for the first time last year?
Not really a ton. There wasn't some sort of magic answer that I felt like led me to that point. It was really just consistency in the work throughout the season. AC was great about letting me extend myself and giving me that long leash. And down the stretch, of course, we're trying to win games and get a spot in the playoffs. So, I was able to capitalize on some additional outs that just kind of got me over the threshold. But yeah, that was really cool accomplishment. Hope to do it again moving forward. But it was kind of just, a lot of stuff went right.
How do you just feel about the rotation in general? Obviously, a lot of changes this off season. You're at the top, but kind of everybody behind you, and kind of what you hoping for from the team.
Yeah. Even with Bayo not breaking opening day last year, it's like we're looking to have 80% of a new rotation, 60% if you include Bayo as a returner. But it's really cool. Sonny brings a ton of experience and a ton of strikeouts and innings over the past couple of years. Obviously we've seen what Rangers done in the NL and one of the better divisions in baseball, and also in one of the more hostile environments in baseball. So I think that we're excited to see him meet the challenge in Boston. And Oviedo's got an incredible, profile. Just watching him throw bullpens and stuff like that, you see the pitch shapes and the arsenal as a whole, and there's a lot to like there. and with the young guys as well. Early and Tolley gained a lot of experience last year. And, you know, not to say that those guys will be relied upon solely, but, you know, I think that if we found ourselves in a position where those guys are throwing impactful innings, I think that we're in a really good spot.
Alex talked about still taking care of, you know, anybody in April, May, so you can go and do what you did against New York in October. Like,
Right.
year 2 now, does that help you buy in maybe in April when you're frustrated if the guys are coming out, or are you still going to be pissed?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably still be pissed. I feel like that's the nature of the game, you know. It's a little harder to see the big picture when you're in it. But, you know, I've got all the faith in the world in Alex and this front office and the rest of the staff that they're making the right calls. Yeah, I still remember the Mets game, 5 1/3 and like 85 pitches, and kind of just thinking, what the hell are we doing, man? Trying to win today, but, you know, then you look at the year as a whole and how everything was able to come to fruition. And, you know, hindsight's always 20/20, but that was definitely the right call for the situation. If something happens like that this year, you know, which, you know, you can always expect to get a breather here and there, but I expect it'll be the right call.
How was your off season different after hitting, you know, 200 plus innings?
Not a ton, and Bales was asking me about that coming into camp. Like, do you want to slow the build up a little bit more? But no, you know, getting back into throwing again. It was as smooth as an off season as I've had. You know, just felt like I ended on a good note. You know, took my typical like 4, 5, 6 weeks off. You know, had the birth of my daughter, so it actually pushed me to 6. But no, everything's been going good.
How's being a dad going?
It's going good. You know, getting sleep when you can, but you know, it's been good.
They're here with you, I assume?
Yeah, they are.
Gary, you said not a lot different from a year ago, but you personally, from where you were a year ago, right? Now established as a starter, the contract, the family, like that's a lot of growth in 1 year.
Yeah. I mean, just year to year, thinking back to when I debuted, it seems like every year it's a whole new challenge and a whole new set of circumstances. But it's looking back a year ago to where we are today as a family. You know, it's really cool and special.
You talk about your daughter, you know, just starting, but like just going home to that good day, bad day at the office, whatever. How much sort of perspective was that giving you having a family?
Well, I haven't had any bad days at the office yet, but I'm sure that it'll be great. Yeah, I can't really put into words how, you know, it's made me feel that I've transformed on the inside, but it's a special feeling.
You talked about wanting to be more consistent and some adjustments with a couple of pitches and more success there,
Right.
but do you play mental games with yourself, like telling, like, oh, this guy said I couldn't do this?
Yeah.
Like, and what's on that list now of, like, in your head, I'm going to prove either to myself or something that someone said about me? What's on tap for 26 in that regard?
I think to externalize those thoughts kind of takes away from the magic of the drive that, you know, they give you. There's some stuff on the list
but
of.
there's some stuff in there.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
always.
Is everybody who put you second on the Cy Young ballot?
No. Tarek had a phenomenal year. And it wasn't just the ERA, it was the peripherals as well. You know, I was just excited to even get a handful of votes there. But no, I wouldn't look at it that way.
We just met IKF, and he talked to us about the Blue Jays sitting in the clubhouse, watching you guys play the Yankees, and being relieved that they didn't have to play you guys, that they didn't have to face you in the postseason, because they thought they could.
I think he's embellishing there a little bit. No, but I had a good start against them to end the regular season, so maybe there is a little bit of truth in that, I suppose. But it's cool to hear. You know, I've heard a lot of great stuff about him as a teammate, and just really excited to get to know him a little bit more.
Going back to what TC said about just like the journey that you've been on the last year, like to hear guys say like, well, we didn't want to face him in the playoffs, or you know, I wanted to sign here and pitch alongside Garrett Crochet. Like, what does that mean to you?
It's. I mean, I don't even really have the words. It's like how I say, maybe he's embellishing. I don't know, maybe he is telling the truth, but it's hard to believe. Just, you know, talking about the trajectory of, you know, my career year to year, the trajectory of my home life. It's really special. Kind of just like, I guess, a full circle moment, like goals becoming reality, but still a lot that, you know, we want to accomplish as a team in the years to come, but just focused on going day to day right now.
You spent some time with Sonny this offseason?
Yeah.
Because he's a Vinny guy.
Yep.
So did you guys work out together? Did you just sort of see each other in passing? Or
Yeah, yeah.
What was that like after, especially after you joined the team?
Right, yeah, we threw a handful of bullpens together and trained a little bit together for a couple weeks. Had actually met him last offseason, so there was already at least an introduction done. So yeah, as soon as the trade went through, we were texting a little bit about getting together at Vanderbilt, and came to fruition. And it's been great, man. He's a fun guy to watch. Just practice every day, throwing the bullpens. It's not to like take away from it, but it's kind of comedy. Like I love it. Like he's very in tune with himself and what he wants to do as far as like, the little minutia that I don't really consider myself like a master of or even fully aware of. Like, catchers setting up down to the fractions of where their left knee is or where their glove is. Obviously a very experienced guy, and it really shows with his work.
Have you picked up any wisdom from him?
Not particularly yet, but I imagine that it'll come. I feel like, one of the real benefits of the staff that we're bringing in this year is just the competitiveness amongst each other. Obviously not in a malicious way, but when you're following up a guy that's going 7 shutty and punching out 11, it's, you want to do the same, if not better. And we've got a lot of guys on the team that are capable of doing that.
You might be the youngest guy. Right? Are you younger than Bayo?
I don't know. I think we're same age. I mean, if you looked at the birthday, I have no idea. But yeah, it's really cool.
How much facility at Vanderbilt's really good, right?
Yeah, it's solid. They're redoing like a pitching lab right now, so maybe that'll be open next off season.
Don't they have like a Fenway kind of?
Yeah, the wall and left is pretty tall. I don't know about like the dimensions, like distance wise, how it matches up though.
As someone who was making sense of a lot of life changes this offseason, were you, on the one hand, you were coming off of a year where theoretically, like the extension conversations would have been different, right? Entering the last year before free agency. On the other hand, like I said, you had a lot of stuff going on. Happy that you signed the deal that you did when you did?
I think that, being offered, life-changing money like that and signing my name and committing myself to this team freed me up in a lot of ways that allowed me to have the season that I just did. I think when you look at deals like that, especially signed before I'd really done anything, I know that I was an all-star in 24, but I hadn't accomplished anything. I think that it just kind of allowed me to go out and be myself, and it took away the pressure of free agency, and it just allowed me to focus on winning day to day.
I mean, again, like, thinking about what it's like going through, like being introduced to parenthood and having done right? How much was it just settling to know exactly what you're doing, like where you're going to be in life for some years to come?
Yeah, very. Because when you debut, it's just, all right, how do I stay here? And then getting traded over and knowing that my clock was ticking, it's cool to know that we'll be here for an extended period of time.
Was Scott Brown the guy from Vanderbilt?
Yeah, he's the pitching coach there.
So that was the guy who helped you with Kirby?
No, that wasn't him. Yeah.
It's all up like the staff page.
Investigative journalism.
We're gonna come to the end.
Can you ask Sonny?
Yes, I will ask Sonny. I hope that he knows. Because I wanted to give him his credit. I was thinking about it as soon as he told me. I was like, man, like, do you want to go to pro ball? And he was like, I don't know, maybe. And I was like, okay, I'm bookmarking this. And then I forgot. Yeah, I'm doing more harm than good right now.